had just finished up our first portion of the meeting, and now we're going to transition to the membership portion of the meeting. We're going to first start off with Principal Bailey's update for our. So I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to her.
Good evening, everyone. I just have a few updates for you for this month. Hopefully everybody is reading the weekly newsletter. And just FYI, we have lots of things going on, but I try to put them in small bites so not to overwhelm anybody when they're reading the newsletter. Most recently, this week, I shared with everybody that we are going to have an MLK week of service. And generally every year during the Martin Luther King time, Montgomery County encourages schools to participate in the week of service. So this year, we are encouraging people to donate to 2 different organizations, and one of them is a local organization, which is the Montgomery County Coalition for the Homeless, which services pretty much our community, and we may have individuals that are coming from that particular area. We're looking for toiletry supplies, and if you looked in the newsletter, we were asking for toothpaste, soap, lotion, things of those natures that people need as far as hygiene items. I cannot remember, and I want to say it's our person who does communication. I think it was, forgot her name. But we have a parent on the PTA who is also willing to come in to help us separate those items once they start coming in, so that we don't just hand them over with boxes of items. So we encourage you to volunteer. Yes, it was you, Mindy. Yeah, we encourage you to volunteer if you would like to help to organize these items before we hand them over to the Montgomery County Coalition for the Homeless. But we also would like for you to reach out and share this with your family, your friends, and so that we can have a wealth of items. We want to create a spirit of volunteerism with our students. Volunteer doesn't just start when we get older. We want to encourage kids to volunteer and to give to people who are less fortunate than ourselves. The other initiative that we are supporting is from the Youth Education for Development and Entrepreneurship. Some of you long timers who've been around will remember Monsieur C, who used to be a teacher, and this is an organization that he is working with, and we are looking for school supplies, new gently used supplies that we can donate. We have tons of books already that we have set aside for students in Senegal, but we are looking for more that we can send, and those items will be shipped over to Senegal to support elementary school students there. And so once again, in addition to giving, we also want you to talk to your children about volunteerism and helping others. Our students right now are not getting SSL hours, but if you have middle school students who want to volunteer for SSL hours at our school, please encourage them to reach out to the teachers that they know in the building, and those teachers are always willing to take on students who are looking for SSL hours to help them after school. The other thing that I know is a hot button topic is Valentine's Day. We are calling Valentine's Day Kindness Day, and we are encouraging students, of course, to be kind, and we are doing an entire week of activities. Teachers are doing lessons. Ms. G is going to do a visual that will go up in the main hallway, and it's going to be something like hate, but we're going to cover hate with messages of love that students can write, and that they can put it up, and we're going to see how long it takes us to kind of cover over the word. And at the end of the week, which just happens to fall on Valentine's Day, we are having our Kindness Day parties. Teachers, if you haven't received it already, within the coming days or possibly this week when they send out their messages, they'll be sending to you their Kindness Day party letters, and they'll tell you what time. And so it depends on, like, I think second grade has specials at the end of the day, so their party might be a little different, a different time than the others. But we're encouraging you all to participate, and you are welcome to come in and to volunteer and support and enjoy the time with your students to help them show kindness to others. And in the spirit of showing kindness to others, we're asking that when students give out those Kindness Day cards to their peers, that everybody in the class gets one. And so we want to make sure that, once again, that we're spreading love to everyone. And we ask that if you are handing out these cards, that every student gets one. The last thing is one of my counselors came to me to ask if she could start a club, and Miss Dobson, and this club is going to be called a Rainbow Club. And the Rainbow Club is going to be a way to create a safe and non-judgmental environment and space for students who are LGBTQ plus and their allies, and where they can be their true selves, where they can ask questions, where they can learn from one another, and then to continue to promote respect and acceptance throughout the school. So I just wanted to make you aware that this club is going to be started at the school within the coming weeks. We're following all MCPS guidelines when it comes to this particular topic. So if you have any questions, of course, please reach out to myself or Ms. Dobson, and we will answer any of the questions that you have. Ms. Dobson is going to be the main point of contact, because this is a club that she is very passionate about and she wants to start. And there are students who have demonstrated a level of interest to her. So that is our update. Oh, and volunteering. Every week you see a note in the newsletter about volunteering. If you would like to volunteer in the school, please reach out to your child's teacher to establish a time for you to come in, and then they will, so that will be between the two of you to establish that time, and then they will make sure that there are things for you to do within the building while you're there.
I think, Ms. Bailey, there was one question in the chat regarding if there was going to be an Amazon option for like there was for stock the break room for the teachers for the winter break, for winter break. Is the same thing similar for the donations for the events that you're having for next week?
Wait, what did you say about Amazon?
Like, is there going to be like wish list items of things that you need? Like if you're talking about the toothbrushes and the lotion and things of that nature, so then it's easy for parents to order online and have it shipped to the school?
I did not create an Amazon link, and I'm not even sure I can for that particular thing, but I'll have to kind of look into that. But we don't have an Amazon link, but if you actually look, the Montgomery County Coalition for the Homeless put a QR code for financial donations if people want to. But if people want to go ahead and just drop in toiletries, that's what we're asking for, toiletries and school supplies, and they want to have it shipped to the school and they can put my name on it, then that's fine as well.
Okay, thank you very much. I wasn't sure if you also wanted to talk about the bike program.
Oh yeah, goodness, forgot about that. Our media specialist came to us to talk to demonstrate interest in restarting a bike program. And I shared this with the PTA a few weeks ago because they there's a Rockville, I don't know what is Rockville Bike Club. And I had an opportunity to sit and talk to the mayor. And so we are starting a bike club. And the bike club is essentially for students who need that additional love and support and care. Teachers, we have a criteria for people participating in the bike club. And those are students who may get referrals to the office, and just once again, who needs that, extra loving care and support, and students who live within the neighborhood, because we don't want people, people come from all over. We want people to be able to actually bike, and we are collaborating with the Montgomery County Police as well as the Rockville Bike Club, and soliciting from the mayor. And so we're teaching them about bike safety, safe routes to travel when biking to almost at work, biking to school, and things of that nature. And then the idea behind it, hopefully at the end, the student participants would be able to get a free bike that they can ride when they come to school.
A lot of it was Shanae was removing.
Thank you very much, Ms. Bailey. Okay, so next we're going to move on to, we have Alice Greer. Alice, am I saying your last name correctly?
He got Shanae again because he was
Yes. Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, you can. So everyone, this is Alice Greer. She's from the city of Rockville, and she is with the summer camp group for the city, and she's going to discuss the summer camp and the registration that's coming forward in the next few weeks. So if you want to go ahead, Alice, thank you very much for coming.
You're welcome. So real quick, what I'm going to do is put our link in the chat. So that's a website. And the reason we really wanted to meet with you this month versus waiting a little later is because our registration date is February 12th, and registration opens at 8:30 a.m. And some of our camps do fill up within minutes. So we're trying to spread the word. You can view our camp guide online starting from January 31st. So right here on this website is where you can view it from January 31st. Take a look at all of our camps, put together a list of what you're interested in, and then February 12th is when you want to register at 8:30 a.m. So most of our camps will run from June 23rd through August 22nd. And for Maryvale, the best locations are really our Pump House location, which is our summer blast camp. So it's a variety camp with arts and crafts, field trips, games, outdoor games. I'm sure a lot of your kids are familiar with it. And also the Croydon Creek Nature Center camp. So they have a ton of options there. It's very close to Maryvale. Those do fill up right away. So if you're interested in any of the Nature Center camps, I do recommend registering for those right away. But that's it. And so we're here for you guys. We have lots of offerings this year, and I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Do you have any information about scholarships or grants for people to know more about that?
Yes, we do. I believe on that website there should be let me see, all the way at the bottom, we'll have some information about that. And in the guide on the last page, let me see, wait, page, you don't have the guide yet, but you'll see it. So families can qualify for $175 off a week. But these are families that residents that would qualify for farms, so free and reduced meals, medical assistance, rental assistance, or supplemental security income. So that's $175 off per week.
Great.
Good question.
Not a question, but having a lot of experience looking at those camps, when people say they fill up quick, if you are interested in something and your child is interested in something, I would say 8:30 is the time to get online. Not 8:35, not 8:40 for some of those camps, because they are very popular. And even if you do log on at 8:30, you sometimes can get in a queue of 30 minutes The website doesn't crash, which is good, but it puts you in a queue to be patient. You'll get in, and but the camps are fantastic, so I highly encourage them if it's something you're looking into.
Yes, and I didn't mention one thing that we're doing this year too is you can pre-fill your information. So there's a lot of questions that you have to fill out, like allergies or doctor information, whatever. But you're going to be able to pre-fill that. We don't have it set up quite yet, but the next few weeks we'll have it ready, and you can fill in those courses. And that way, at 8:30 a.m. on February 12th, you'll be able to just go right in. It'll pre-fill all your questions, and then you can register right away. Good.
Also, was a question in the chat.
Yeah, I see Amanda loves Pump House. Thank you. That's awesome. Yes, the registration dates are the same for City of Rockville residents and non-residents. We really don't get too many non-residents, so that's why we just keep it the same. The prices are different. So City of Rockville residents do get a little bit of a discount. Are there any other questions? Let me see.
And who should they reach out to, Alice, if there's more questions?
The best email address is camps@rockvillemd.gov. So it's just camps and then rockvillemd.gov. And on this website that I put in the chat, I'll put it in one more time. We do have an email address there. We also have a phone number. So it's 240-314-8620. So that's our main recreation line. And if you just tell them you're interested in camps, they'll direct you to the right person. Croydon Creek camps, yes, those are so much fun, but those are the ones that fill up very quickly.
Great. Is there any other questions that anyone may have? Well, thank you so much, Alice. We greatly appreciate you spending your time and talking to us tonight about the City of Rockville camps. It was very exciting. Thank you again.
Of course, not a problem. And your school seems wonderful. That club sounds really exciting. So kudos to you guys.
Thank you so much. Take care.
Bye. Take care.
So now, folks, we're going to move on to the approval of the minutes from last month. I sent those over to our board, so let me go ahead and pull them up here. Give me one moment. Okay, so those I now should be sharing our meeting notes from last month. Katie O'Brien took them for us. So we discussed some various topics about the treasure update. And then we go down. And then we talked about the membership update, our normal things that we covered. The program events that were coming up because we were finalizing the details for our spring events that were happening. We were talking about the book fair, about the potential of a second book fair, and we declined to do that option. And then Brent was talking about his cluster update. And I think and we're talking about what we made from the book fair and from the pumpkin dash. And we're talking about the spirit wear. And then Amanda mentioned about the Maryvale Park was going to be getting an updated playground. And then we ended our meeting. So we need to go ahead and need to have a motion to approve those minutes.
So moved.
A second, please.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you all so much. Okay, now we're going to move on to Colby. I'm going to pull up the document that he sent me. Give me one moment to do that. And then Colby can go ahead and take over. Colby, if you want to start, and I can pull it up.
So basically, we, as a PTA, are not allowed to go over in our expenditures, right? So whatever we're budgeting in our expenditures, we need to stay within those guidelines towards the end of the year. We can go over in income, right? So if we budget something in income, we can go over in income, but we can't go over our expenditures. Now, we have looked at our budget going forward, and we do this January.
No, it's me too, Natalie.
Yeah, I think we all did. Is there everybody in the room? We're not hearing anything at all.
I'm hearing nothing. At first it was poor and now it's completely gone out.
I thought Colby was from home, so maybe Colby just dropped off by accident.
Tyler, can you hear us?
Can you hear me?
We can hear you, but we don't hear anything else.
Okay, now Colby will talk.
Can you hear me?
Now I can hear you.
Oh, wonderful. I'm so sorry about that. Let me start again. And I will make this a little bit larger so you can see it. Okay, so as I was starting out, the PTA, we have our income expenses, income that we're planning to raise through the course of the year. And then we have our expenses, what we're planning on spending throughout the year. So looking at the budget, we started with a balance of $25,000, a little over $25,000 for this year, and it is slowly, there we go. And the idea is that we're going to raise some money this year, but we're going to also spend quite a bit of money. And the idea is that at the end, you'll see at the bottom right-hand side, that $6,050, that is what our hopes to be rolled over for next year, right? PTAs, generally speaking, should be rolling over about $5,000 a year, a little bit of buffer, so we have money for the summer, but not so much that, we're not spending the money that we're raising throughout the year. The money that we raise each year by those parents and teachers should be spent on those kids that year in the school. As you can see from the fact that we rolled over quite a bit of money, we are much better at fundraising than we are at spending. Now, there's many reasons for that. We will not get into all of those, but the idea is we would like to spend this money. So, but again, our expenses that we're budgeting cannot exceed what it is we budgeted. So if we budgeted $100 for something, we have to stay within that budget. And if we go over that budget, we need to get the PTA membership to vote on how we can change our budgets. So the idea here is that we're looking at a few changes that we want to do. Again, in income, we can go over in income, but we do try to, while we're making adjustments to our budget, we make adjustments to all sides to try to make sure that we're covering everything that we need to do. So in our income side of things, we're looking to increase by about $9,000 in the line which we call other. Now, others, as we go to the right, there are things like our grants, our movie nights, special events, spirit gear. Most of this is grants. There are a lot of teachers who have requested grants for different things this year. And we would like to approve all of those things that they would like to purchase. And I think we have approved most of those as well, but in that case, we need to increase that line item for that line item. Looking down at our expenses, which is the most important in the sense that we're not supposed to be going over our expenses, the three highlighted areas, which is coming up shortly. Hold on 1 second, there's a delay in my laptop and what you are seeing on the screen. There it is. There are three areas in which there are requests for expenditures that are exceeding what the current budget holds. Now, the family engagement programs is one of those areas. The idea is that people are requesting that we increase that by a little bit over $5,000. A lot of that has to do with our international night, our science fairs, our Cougar kickoffs, book fairs, spring fling, things of this nature. And so a lot of this is going back to all of the events that we are having. There is another line item called operational expenses. This is where we're asking just for about a $90 increase, and this is because with, bank processing fees, things of this nature, we try to anticipate what those are. Sometimes we have a little bit more of those expenditures than we anticipate, but not much. It's things of like expenses that we have for our Zoom memberships, tax filings, paying dues to National PTA, things of that nature. But that we actually budgeted quite well, so we're asking for an increase of about 90. There is another one, which is our program support expenses. You'll see that at 25,000. And this here, we're actually I'm sorry, let me go back to other expenses. There's an increase there of 1,200, and that's for our food for sales at our special events. So we have starting cash that we provide each time for the cash box to make sure we can make change. We had budgeted, we have a couple events programmed there, but there's a few other events that people were looking to do. And so we wanted to ensure that we had enough money in there so that we could, have money starting those events each time we do them. And then the final one is our program support expenses. This one actually is decreasing by about $2,000 to support some of the other things. Part of that is purchases of books that we normally have purchased for the library, but some of those books have already been purchased through the book fair. So that decrease in that was that the purchase of those books has already occurred during the book fair. And so do not need to be continually done again a second time. There is quite a bit of money still on the line for additional books, however, so there will be more book sales. The idea, again, is that we're going to be spending about $19,000, a little over $19,000, so long as, for example, all of the people who requested grants use them, and all of the teachers who are becoming members are using their $95 to do classroom things for their classroom, purchasing items for their classrooms. So we're highly encouraging everyone to make sure that they do those purchases and we get those expenses into the school so that we can reimburse the school for those items. So if all goes well, we will have about $6,000 that we roll over next year. So fingers crossed that all of those expenses get done this year. We highly encourage those reimbursements to happen. So we are looking for the members to approve that budget. If there are any questions, I'm happy to answer any questions you may have. One additional thing that was raised tonight was for carnival expenses. So that is one of our line items in our fundraising expenses. There was we had talked about it as a board, but as of just today, there was an ask for another additional $300 increase in that fundraising expenses line, which I think should not be a problem again, because we'd be rolling over just then slightly under $6,000, which is well within our ability. So that's where we are at the moment, and wanted to know if there's any questions about the budget. Okay. If there aren't any questions, I'd like to put this up.
Motion to approve the budget.
Thank you.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Bye.
I appreciate it.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you, Colby, so much. Okay, we are gonna move on to Brent. So Brent, if you want to go ahead and start your cluster update, please. Okay. Brent, can you hear me? I will give Brent a moment, and we could go back to him. I'm gonna go ahead and go up to, let's see, I'm gonna go ahead and go back up to the top for our board portion, and we'll go ahead and we'll talk to Natalie. Natalie, what is your update for this?
The
update is there's been no change in membership since the last meeting. I think the last new member we got was at the start of November. The other thing is we always share a directory of all the students, and we have the information for that now, and my goal is to get that out to current members this week. So look for an email from me telling you how to access it. That's all.
Okay, great. Thank you so much, Natalie. Tanya, do you have an update for us for communications?
Yeah, basically it's the same as last time. We have transitioned well using this new platform. We're able to see the analytics. Most people are viewing it from their phone. And then some people are viewing it from their laptops. We can see where they can, like we saw a person access it from Texas to in Puerto Rico, so that was pretty cool. Other than that, like it's been a pretty smooth transition. We're using this paid version. We like it. Mindy and I like it, and we're able to attach the attachments to the newsletter and the links easily compared to what we were using before. And that's about it.
Well, thank you so much.
Welcome.
Teresa.
Hey there. The only thing, hi. The only thing I'll mention is don't forget to look at our calendar on the maryvalepta.org website. If you haven't already subscribed to it, the instructions are there at the bottom when you scroll down underneath the calendar, and then it just lives on your phone. It gets automatically updated. Life is good. And if anyone is interested in next year, 2025-26, being the webmaster, it's really not very hard. It's also a great job that you can do kind of on your own time if you can't make time for other PTA activities. So feel free to reach out to me at webmaster@maryvalepta.org, but we don't need that till next year, so don't stress. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Teresa. Now we're going to go back into our back over to fundraising update. Joanne has our fundraising update.
Great. So our next big fundraising event is the silent auction, which is part of the Spring Fling, which is happening in May. But we're looking for volunteers. So we're looking for volunteers to help do like data entry into the silent auction system. We're looking for volunteers to help solicit businesses, and it's really easy. You know, it's email. You don't have to like cold call or show up in person for soliciting business for our silent auction. So we're looking for volunteers. And then also if you know anyone, or if you yourself have like a business and you'd like to offer any like goods or services for a silent auction, we'd really appreciate that as well. So if you're interested in volunteering, or you have a business and you'd like to be a part of silent auction, you can contact me or Rachel. I'll drop our fundraising email in the chat. And then kind of the other update that I have is the next restaurant night is going to be February 3rd, and it's going to be at The Habit. So look out for, flyers for that.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. I appreciate that, Joanne. Amanda is going to go over our program and events.
Yes. Hi, everybody. I'm back. If you checked out the either the calendar on our website or the last newsletter, we're excited to announce we have a number of upcoming events calendared for the spring. So at the end of this month is the first movie night. It's going to be Happy Feet, the little penguin movie. We're going with cold frozen themes. Then we are going to have the next event will be February 21st, which is Friday, which is International Night. Any day now, you should be getting a flyer home and information about how to register for that. If you've never attended, it's a really great event that showcases the just cultural diversity of our school. It's fantastic, and the food is delicious. Then following that, on March 8th, which is a Saturday, is the Science Fair. The registration is already open for that, so get your kids excited about science and to showcase their exhibits. We have another movie night at the end of February, and then we have Spring Fling, which you heard Joanne say. There is both a silent auction component and also a carnival games, and we've had a petting zoo in the past couple of years component. So that's a really big, exciting event event for the spring, and hopefully it will not rain this year. We are 3 for 3 on raining on spring fling, so hopefully not. And it's not really my world, but I put it in the chat, and those of you in the room, last night, the city of Rockville officially announced the design for the new Maryvale playground, because this was mentioned earlier. Actually, my son was on the committee. It was a lot of fun. There were several Maryvale students, or well, parents. And it's just really exciting. It's got a spinner and a zip line, and it'll be a nice addition to a park that's already a wonderful asset to our neighborhood. So just wanted to say, if you're in person, that is now in the chat. So you might want to, check that out. So that's all. Thank you.
Also, can you talk about the Sign Up Geniuses for the movie night?
Oh, yes. We have 2 sign up geniuses. I assume, Mindy, that this will be coming out shortly. So we're going to need some volunteers to sell food and watch the hallways and help clean up. Always welcome SSL Hour kids. And then we also are going to be doing another baked good. Oh, there they are. They appeared magically. Thank you.
Wonderful. So please sign up and help us out for next Friday. It's a great way to help out. My kids get very excited. So we had a great turnout last time, and I hope we have an equally great turnout this time.
And Mindy, just to quickly answer your question, I think it's fine to include the playground design in the next newsletter because it was sent out to the whole neighborhood through the IRCA listserv yesterday. So I think it's now public knowledge. Thanks.
Thank you so much. I think we're gonna go ahead and go on. We have our listening session now, and Tyler's gonna oversee that. So I'm gonna give Tyler my computer's moment.
Sure. Hi, everybody. Can you hear us in the room, or did it get muted again?
Yes, we hear you.
Awesome. So yeah, we just wanted to take a moment, we're kind of halfway through the year. We went over the budget. We've had some events so far this year. Amanda went over some of the awesome things that are coming in the spring. So we thought it'd be a good opportunity to just kind of reflect on what's done, what's coming, and just provide a space for feedback or comments on what's going on with the PTA. So this is just an open forum. If you have any comments or concerns that you would like to share, great time for us to discuss at the end of the meeting. I'll also make myself available via email. If you'd rather discuss something privately, I'm happy to chat one-on-one. But we just wanted to take people's feedback, talk about it in an open forum, and then go from there. So yeah, if you have anything that you wanted to discuss, please let us know. And I'm gonna put my email in the chat.
So that one comment on the bottom of the form.
I'm gonna try to pull that.
Yeah, okay. If you need me, let me know.
So we did solicit some feedback via a survey that we sent out. Sorry, I might need you to pull.
Yeah, of course, I'll pull it up on my.
Thank you for your comment, Sarah. I'm just gonna have, Megan pull up the feedback chart. So that we can talk about any of the items that were on there. So Megan's gonna pull that up.
Sorry, anyone else is finding it. Oh, I got it.
You got it? Okay.
I think it's more of it.
Okay, yeah, so we did have one parent, most recently, make a comment about security, during the drop off, it seems like drop off and pickup maybe. Excuse me, trying to read this comment in detail. I haven't had a chance to read it fully.
I think it was referring, when I read it earlier, it was referring to people coming in and out of the building when the doors are open for open.
Other kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that's why something that, Billy, do you feel comfortable to bringing that, talking about that? Cause I know there's some change measures of coming in and out of the building in the last few months. Do you want to talk about that?
You're on mute, Ms. Bailey.
What is the question?
So I think that I just read through the comment. I think the main comment is just that during drop off in the mornings, maybe there have been some parents kind of skipping through the administrative assistant's office, you know, where they're supposed to be checking in their students and just kind of walking into the building. So maybe just a reminder about like the security, you know, the policies around, you know, always checking in, going through, you know, that area if you're coming into the building.
Okay. Yes, so there is someone, Miss Jones, is there in at those front doors. And so no, you know, I'm outside or around everywhere. So I don't know that somebody's coming in, and if that's happening, I will make sure to let the front office know to stop parents. But I will say, and I'm asking from your end, also just to ask parents to be patient, because we've also encountered some concerns when we ask parents, you know, not to walk into the main doors and to present ID, and they get annoyed with our front office staff for asking for identification or asking, what room or what they're at, what they need, and where they're going. And so it definitely has to be a everybody. So I will remind the office to make sure that they are letting that they're stopping people if they see them going in. I do have one parent who has permission from me to every day walk her. So I don't know if that's what you saw, but like to walk her child directly to class. And so this has been an arrangement that has been set up pretty much since the first week of school. But there should not be anyone just walking into the building without pretty much stating their business. And and I don't want to say it like that, but yes, we do need to maintain safety and security. And so they do need to show identification when picking up their students or going to other spaces within the building.
Thank you for that, Ms. Bailey. I appreciate it. It's a good reminder for everybody, that we have these for a reason, and it helps keep all of us safe, helps keep our kids safe and the building in good order, especially at a busy time during drop off and pickup. So do our best to follow those rules and hopefully keep everybody happy and safe and healthy. Well, I didn't see any other hands earlier, but just one more opportunity. If you want to throw something in the chat or unmute yourself, happy to provide a platform and a space for discussions or feedback about any events we had in the fall or anything you heard about coming up in the spring. Otherwise, you can send me an email. Go ahead. Hi, Jody.
Hi, I have a comment or maybe a suggestion about the thing we were just talking about for regards to the people coming in and parents maybe feeling I don't know, like put out or put off about being requested to show their ID or asked to stop. And then also that's probably I would imagine a pretty awkward situation for the front office staff. So even though we've all been told that is what we should expect, maybe some additional signage that would then very clearly, simply stated, you will be asked to show your ID, so that then even the front office staff can, like, as they're saying it to the parents, point to that, like kind of almost to like take the onus off of them to, like, this makes it easy on everyone to be like, it's because of that sign, you know? I'm not being rude. It's because that sign's telling me I have to do it. Like, we all know
Yeah.
why it really has to happen, right? We don't have to get into that.
Absolutely.
But that sign's telling us to do it, so we have to do it.
That's a good idea. Thank you,
Okay.
Jody. And certainly, you know, Ms. Bailey's here, but we can, you know, talk about that at the executive level and, you know, talk about it with Ms. Bailey and see if putting another sign up would make sense. Thank you for that idea. Any other,
Yeah,
thoughts? Hi, Amanda.
so hi, this is, I think, you know, tangentially related, but the city of Rockville's come up a lot tonight. Miss Bailey, I was driving when you were giving your update. The bike program sounds great. And we had some emails back and forth several years ago. We had the city's bike program come in, and we made the point that the Carl Henn Millennial Trail ends like not even half a mile, a quarter of a mile from Maryvale. And if we could get that, like, I would call it the last mile. It's not, it's less like quarter mile from the Henn Trail, which basically ends at Maryvale Park, up to the school. That would be great for kids biking in from all different directions. So I guess I would just say, if you are in communication with the city, I would love if you could just re-advocate that point. At least several years ago.
Can you send that to me in an email?
I
Because
can.
I can't visualize.
Sure.
that.
Yeah. So yeah, the Carl Henn Trail is the 11-mile path bike path that goes all the way around the city, and it goes through our neighborhood. And there's that odd little area right near Maryvale Park where it juts back out onto Norbeck. And if we could just get it extended a little bit further to the school, then all the kids coming through the park could have a dedicated lane as they go to school, etc. So, and then kids coming back down from like Red Gate Farms, they could take the bike trail along Norbeck and come back in. And I think that could be a real addition. So I'll put that in an email. I also, because there's been so much Rockville conversation, I also wanted to invite you, Miss Bailey, to attend an East Rockville Civic Association meeting. So these have traditionally conflicted with our meetings. They're the second Tuesday of every month, but now that they've opened up, Miss Prentice attended one several years ago, and it's, you know, our civic association. So it's the second Tuesday of every month, 7 o'clock at the Pump House, which you've heard reference to. It's one of our parks in our neighborhood. And it's, you know, not all parents, but it is, you'll have some who have younger kids who might come to Maryvale one day, or, you know, people whose kids perhaps have come through Maryvale, but it might just be a good way to make an introduction as a new principal. So I'd invite you, and I can make that connection to Jeff, the president of IRCA.
Yes, please.
Sure.
Amanda, I just want to chime in here and say that was me. That's how I found out about Maryvale. I am an IRCA resident, just ever so slightly outside of the Maryvale district. I'm in Meadow Hall, but I attended a meeting, I guess like 5 years ago, right? I had a baby that is now Penelope.
With Miss Prin.
and found out about Maryvale, that it had this French immersion program. Like, I never would have heard of it if it weren't for that. So it was a great way for me to learn about everything Maryvale related from that IRCA meeting.
I'm so glad that worked out like that.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Okay, well, thanks everybody for the feedback. If you have something else you wanted to share, my email is in the chat. I'm gonna put it in. It's actually, I think it's still towards the top. Yeah, just one other comment. So again, vp@maryvalepta.org. Feel free to write me. I'm happy to chat with you about anything. I think, is that the end of the agenda?
Yeah, we just have an open forum, so if anyone has any other topics they want to discuss, that we can discuss, but it seems like we had that venue, but if there's a space now to bring that up. So if anything that you'd like to bring up, please do that now.
Miss Bailey with her hand, gonna jump out the open forum.
So I just wanted to share that over the past few weeks, we've been in, we've been out, we've been in, we've been out, and we've only been in school for maybe 6 days since the new year has started. And some of it has to do with the weather. I just wanted to share with everybody, during the winter months, it's kind of touch and go when it comes to outdoor recess. There are a number of factors that determine whether or not students can go out for recess. Just recently, in this most recent newsletter, I shared with you a chart of what we use to determine whether or not students go outside for outdoor recess, especially in the winter months. We already know, like, what was it? MCPS beat me to it with sharing with the entire system about whether or not to go outside yesterday, and possibly today, and maybe some days next week, because of the extreme weather conditions. In addition to, when we returned back from our wintercation, our I can't even say winter break, our little snowcation, there was the first priority for the school when it comes to shoveling is to make sure that the walkways are clear. And then after that, they will work on the blacktop areas for students to go outside. But then that is also pending the weather. I think the other day we had some ice, like it was warmer outside, and I was like, I need these kids to go outside. But they couldn't go outside in the back on the blacktop because in addition to the snow, under it was ice. And so there was nothing that could have been done about it. And we generally don't want to use our ice melt and our salt on the blacktop because we need to conserve that for our large walkways. So the kids went outside in the bus loop. The kids had a ball in the bus loop. If you could see all the chalk writing on the outside in the bus loop, that's because the kids were outside writing with chalk, and they didn't have all of the materials because I didn't want the balls all up and down First Street, but they enjoyed themselves and they were glad to be outside. Today, too cold, so they couldn't go out. And then so it's determined on a case-by-case basis or a day-by-day whether or not they go outside in the wintertime. And generally we look at the weather, look at it on my phone, and say, is it 32 degrees? The kids are getting outside. If it's below 32 degrees, maybe 31, still send them outside. But we are looking at that wind chill factor. 32 degrees, but it feels like it's 20, not sending them outside. And so they will end up having indoor recess. We know that and generally remind your children to keep their coats on. The parents outside tell them to keep their coats on, but for some reason, every day we leave with piles of coats because kids are leaving coats and scarves and hats because they've been running around and then they shed their clothing. We want to make sure that they keep their clothing on. So please help us help them by reminding them to keep their coats on while they're outside, even if they feel a little warm and during these frigid temperatures in the winter months.
Thank you, Ms. Bailey.
It looks like that Melissa wanted to thank you for thinking outside the box to get the kids outside in a unique way that got our kids some fresh air. So thank you. And then also there's something else in the chat that hold on, the International Night sign up. Sarah was asking for the sign up genius for International Night. And Amanda was saying that's going to come out later, hopefully later on this week. So be on the lookout for that, and that will be sent out, and then everyone can sign up to help out for International Night. Is there any other topics that people would like to bring up for discussion?
I have one thing actually. The bus loop reminded me. I know that there's a bus driver shortage, so this might not be like something that can be addressed, but I keep hearing from my child and the other people at our bus stop that like Rabbit Bus is super busy in the afternoons and kids are standing on the bus.
Yes.
They're squished like 4 to a seat or standing, and I know
Yes,
there's a
that's
driver
true.
shortage, so
Yes, agreed.
So that's not so I've reached out to our bus driver, or not the bus driver, the depot, and you most certainly can also reach out to the depot. I always get the capacity is, say it's 54, well, we have 53 kids on the bus. And so when kids are standing, they're not standing, and so what I found out is the kids are not standing because there's nowhere to sit. They're standing because they're choose not to sit down, or they're jumping around and they're playing around on the bus. The Rabbit Bus is very busy. Miss Knight and Ms. Stevenson are out there, and constantly we have to have discussions with the student on the Rabbit bus. When the bus driver pulls up in the morning, there was an issue. We'll get a bus referral because of something that's happening. But I have gotten on the Rabbit bus and everybody has a seat, and some of them are three-seater, they're three-seaters. And they have, in the way the depot, it's not a me thing. The way the depot is looking at it, if it's a three-seater, then 3 kids should be sitting in that seat. So nobody should be standing. And so every time I go back to the bus driver to say, hey, kids are standing, like I'm being told that kids are standing on the bus, they don't have a seat on the bus, I get the same result. And so you are more than welcome to reach out to the depot. But we have been asking, and from my understanding, this is something from last year as well, that the Rabbit bus, we would like another bus.
Right. Right.
But
Yeah. No, I get it. I mean, my older daughter she's graduated now, but she was a patrol on Rabbit bus last year, and I know Amanda's son was as well. But yeah, like my younger daughter's still on the bus, and she is like, she follows the rules, so she does not want to stand, but she's like, I gotta stand, there's nowhere to sit, or we're sitting 4 to a seat.
So we'll have Miss Stevenson or Miss Knight tomorrow, who is I'm usually at parent pick up and drop off, but who are at the buses, to make sure that everybody has a seat. Now, if somebody's not being kind, which I could generally see that somebody's not being kind to their classmate and won't move over, but the times that I've gotten on the bus, there have been, everybody has a seat on the bus. So that's something that we have to make sure that when they get off when they get on the bus, everybody is actually sitting in a seat. Nobody. And then, I mean, it's a liability and it's dangerous. So that's why I'm struggling with.
But the driver is operating the bus in that manner.
Right, that the driver, and there are plenty of times that she has shared with us about things that are happening on the bus. So we'll follow up.
It's a wild bus for sure, but yeah, that would be really helpful if
Can you send me an email so I can kind of follow up with you tomorrow about it tomorrow afternoon, so I know who I'm responding to?
Sure. Yep.
Ms. Benny, there was also a question about the Rabbit bus, saying that there weren't any patrols on that bus either.
It's not that there's none. I think there's 2, but there's like 55 kids. And like these poor patrols, like I don't know, right?
And that's why I would like an additional bus. And so your voice counts more than mine.
Okay.
So
The wheel.
Yeah.
Yes, this squeaky wheel, yes.
Okay.
And they don't, and they're not listening to me. So
wait, who do we call? Who do we write? Can you put the phone numbers and the emails in the chat?
The bus depot, and I have to see Miss Knight, and I don't know if you know which depot that is out of.
It should be on our website, the number.
Oh, it's out of the sorry, I think it's the South Gaithersburg depot. I've called them before.
Every route has a different bus depot, so I'm gonna look to see.
I've called them before. I think
it's usually at the top of that printed page that has all the times on it. It'll say the depot and the phone number at the top, which I think is on the school website.
Oh, sorry, Shady Grove South is what I meant.
Yeah, sending out in the.
I'm on my phone, so it's hard for me to. This is Rachel. I'm sorry. I can call it out if someone wants to type it down. The Shady Grove South telephone number. It's 240-740-6210 or 240-740-6215.
You say that second number? I got your first one, Rachel, but not the second.
I'm pasting it.
Oh, okay. She's got it.
6215.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you.
And it says the acting manager or the manager is Tracy Marquez.
She's generally very responsive. Like she takes everything that happens very
What
serious.
what do they base their numbers off of? Like, how do they determine?
53, 55 seats or something.
They know the address, they know the students who are enrolled by the addresses that they have, like pretty much our entire enrollment. And so they base it on those numbers. They even go as far as like, and I do know this has happened, like parents who are like, oh, I'm gonna drop my kid off at this bus stop. Like, no, your kid is not supposed to be getting on this bus. So they know who's supposed to be on the bus and who's not supposed. They know pretty much the names of the students who are supposed to be riding that bus.
And I would note two things I think make this one a little bit unique is both Lincoln Park and Park Street go on this bus.
Yep.
So that's two large groups of kids doing after school
Yep.
programs. And second of all, I'm a classic example, Brent is too. Those of us who live just inside the 1 mile, we walk to the pump house to get our kids on the bus. So I think we are
Don't tell me that.
No, but my son goes to Park Street. My son goes to Park Street. He's officially in the Park Street world. But no, I do think, Jody, you mentioned, the Meadow Hall people. It's a pretty, that those the pump house stop and the one just beyond it. There's actually quite a few families who, be it because they're French immersion walking from Meadow Hall or they're walking just inside. It is, I think, particular, but really it's the after school programs, especially in the afternoon. Because Lincoln Park, has like 20 kids or something.
It seems like
it's a lot.
That's
Yeah.
what
Lincoln Park
Penelope reports
morning is
there's a big
okay,
drop off there.
and Lincoln Park just like messes it up, and it's I
Right,
think it's the
and-
first
and
stop, but
Lincoln Park is the first stop, and I think 3 years ago was when they incorporated Lincoln Park into the Rabbit bus. So Lincoln Park really did originally have its own bus.
Right.
So that kind of like skewed the numbers, and since then things have been really difficult. And I think people don't seem to take into consideration that it's winter. Kids are bundled up in really thick coats. So having 3 kids sit on, on a seat in a thick winter coat when half of them don't want to take their backpacks off or, don't think enough to take their backpacks off, it makes it very uncomfortable to sit in a seat. So that's why sometimes the kids think that they need to stand. At least that's the report I get from my side of the coin from, my son. So
I hear like a couple kindergartners at my stop, they're like sitting on the floor sometimes.
yes.
Yeah, or being sat on.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying that it's not, I'm not on the bus every day, but I think from the number of students who are on the bus, I just think it gets a little out of control. And so the students are moving around, standing up, so there's nothing the patrol can do. And I definitely encourage the patrols not to engage and to let an adult know so that we can handle the situation when there's issues on the bus.
Yep.
Thank you all so much. It looks like we had a good conversation tonight. If anything comes up, please reach out to Tyler or myself if you would like to discuss. Then we'll have our next meeting on February 19th. I don't know how that's determined, Melissa, but I think that's something that maybe then we can send. There was a message from Melissa asking if there was an adult supervisor on the bus in addition to the bus driver. I'm not sure how that process works. Maybe she could send an email. Melissa, maybe you can send an email to Ms. Bailey to about that because I'm not sure about that process.
No, we don't have any. So that like a bus monitor. We have those on bus monitors for students who like ride the CAT bus, and certain special education buses. But we don't. There's no bus and in addition, according to you, there's no room for another adult to be on the bus. In the past I've done things like I have ridden the bus with the kids. So then that way I can see what's going on the bus, but the bus driver has to be willing, on the way home, has to be willing to bring me back to the school so that I can, but we'll see what we can do.
Thank you, Ms. Bailey, for that information. I appreciate that. So thank you all for your time and your efforts. I really appreciate it. And I'll look forward to talking to you all in February. Have a good evening.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.